Hey everybody, I'm Steph, and today I am playing a solo game of Glass Garden from Button Shy. They Button Shy has all these really cool like wallet-sized card games that are, like 18 cards or fewer, and I've gotten to play several of them, and I'm always impressed by the wide range of like ideas people come up with such a few amount of cards. I think it's pretty fun to see what people have created with just like very wallet sized cards deck, so anyway, it's exciting for me to get asked by Bunchai to help feature this game. So this is me all by myself teaching a game called Glass Garden, heading to Kickstarter November 12th. So Jelfie always says and reminds everybody in the chat, don't wait or it'll be too late. You can actually follow the Kickstarter right now so you can be notified on launch when it's available. So again, this is Glass Garden. It's for one player, but I guess if you like to play cooperatively with your partner or whatever, you guys can puzzle it out together because it's very puzzly. So let's take a look. So this is how you're going to set up the game. You have 6 glass cards that you're going to put on either end, and they're going to go dark side up. You're going to choose a critter to use. You can choose the fly, the snail, the ant, and the worm. And they definitely have a scaling difficulty depending on how difficult you want to take it. I am using the fly, which is the easiest mode, and I'm still not. I still haven't gotten a perfect score with it yet, but you can start using harder animals as you do better than me. So there we go. You choose one of those to start your line over here. This fly or the snail, ant, or worm will be act as your timer for the game, as it will move one column each round, and by the end of the game, that will trigger the end of the game. And then you have your soil cards. These are all soiled side up, and you'll notice the back side is the succulent side, and you'll gain cool resources as you're able to upgrade those. So this is how you're going to set it. You shuffle these and put them in a line following your animal, and then just like this. That is your setup. So your play area is these 9 columns, each with a top, middle, and bottom. So you're going to be putting different plants in the top and bottom, but the fly in my game will always be in the middle row. You're never going to move the fly out of the middle row. So, Michael says, thanks to Button Shy for sending us this copy of the game. But I did say that as soon as I came on. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows this is a prototype copy of the game, so I don't actually have a wallet that goes with it. And so this is just essentially a print and play for their Kickstarter preview. So during the game, there's going to be 4 action steps, which is pictured on my fly card here. All of them are right here. It's going to tell you what you're going to do every turn of the game. So that's handy. The first thing you're going to do is take 2 actions. You can choose to take the same action if you want, or you could take one, or you could take nothing if you don't want to do anything. But what you can choose to do is move a soil card up, I guess, or a succulent card. You can move it down as an action, or depending on the way the critter is facing, you can move a card in a certain direction. So in this case, I could move these cards any number of spaces. Like if I wanted to put this one over here, I could put it here, and I would shift everything else this way. Note, you can never move past the critter. So if this critter were here, I couldn't move this card over to here because the critter can never be moved in the process of you shifting cards. But it says not past the critter. Then, if I've managed to successfully lined up three symbols to grow a succulent, I can do that. And if I've managed to somehow create two lines, I could also do a second succulent if I were that clever and that good at this game. I need some more practice before that happens. But what does that mean? It means I look at three soil cards in a row and look at their icons. If I have three icons that match the succulent that I want to grow, I could then grow. So, for instance, I would need three lightning bolts in a row in order to grow this to the opposite side. I could grow that once I do that. Um so you have to look at the in between lines. So either this line or this line. If I wanted to do the blue, I would need another lightning bolt. Um so let's just say this were over here. My action could be to move that down so then I can prepare for this. And maybe I want to think about putting this one over on the side over here because it's really good to grow a succulent adjacent to the jar card. Um, so the next part of this phase after I did my move is to grow. I see, oh, I got my three lightning bolts. Great. I can grow this succulent with the lightning bolts. And by growing it, I then perform the action on the card and flip this jar because it's adjacent to a jar. In order to flip over these high and low parts of the jar, I would need to have flipped it when it were higher, like this. So if I flipped it up here, I would get to flip this one. The flipped jar cards are really helpful for the end of the game because you'll get some bonus actions once the game has ended to help you get the some extra movements and possible succulent flips at the end of the game. So when I flip over this card, I read it, and then I perform the actions on it. Swap the two edge plants, then place one in the top row and one in the bottom row. So if I had a plant over here, I could swap them, and one of them could go high and one of them would have to go low for the ability of this card. And you must do this. You must do this action. Um, So that is that. The third thing on the card is the critter might deal damage. The fly, fortunately for me, is never going to deal damage. However, the snail, let's say the snail were here, he would choose the closest plant, which would be this card, and damage it. So damaging it moves it to the bottom row. The snail never damages a card in the bottom row. So if my snail were here, the closest on the right side would affect this card, and this would move down. So damaging, moving down is never a good thing if you can avoid it. Again, some of these. So the worm is all plants in the closest column on the right side. So it would bring all three of these down. The worm is he's a mean little critter there. So you want them up high if possible. But he would bring it all the way down from the top to the bottom. So you gotta look out for these critters. Uh, so then that is basically it. The last thing you're going to do on the turn is flip this guy and move him one column, shifting the one card in the same position to the column right before it. So as you play the game, he's going to keep going one, 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 one. And you're trying to upgrade all of these different plant cards to become succulents. And you will score once the game end is triggered. If he is all the way over here, all of these will slide over. If he's all the way over here and he were about to move, that triggers the end of the game. Then you're going to check the sunlight phase. All of your cards that you've flipped over into the sunlight phase might give you a bonus. Take 2 extra move actions up or down in this case for this card, and then I would flip it over. It goes back to the dark side. So I could move this up 2, or I could move it up once and move this one up once. And then I could check to see if I've lined up any other combos to create a succulent pattern, and I can grow these plants into a succulent. The same thing would happen if I managed to line it up adjacent to a jar. I would get to flip it over to the sunlight phase, which might give me extra movements. So you want to try and get your plants closest to the jar so you can keep getting those extra bonuses at the end of the game. Once you've exhausted all of your options, then you see how well you did. You will score 2 points for the succulents in the top row. You will score 1 point for the succulents in the middle and bottom rows. And if they're on the soil side, you simply get no points. So you're going to want to get lots of points. And 0 to 9, you basically lose. You're going to want to get more than 9 points. 10 to 11, you're a novice. 12 to 13, you're amateur. 14 to 16, you're a master gardener, and you should probably start using a worm or an ant or a snail. So I've only played this game once, but I know everybody in the chat. I'm not really great like Michael's great, but I try, and I do. We like to play all the games. Sorry, I know I can't remember things. I don't work off of a script normally, and Michael's much better. And I know things when Michael's here, and I lose all sense of knowledge when I when I then have to do it on my own, but it's fine. Well, we've got this. We've got this. I just played this and I got 12 points. So my goal is to beat 12 points if I can manage it. So I shuffled those up. These all need to go to the dark side. And let's see how well I do. All right. So if I manage to get the 3 boxes together, box, 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 that's not going to happen. I would be able to flip that card. Can I make a succulent happen? Lightning, lightning, lightning. The problem is I can only move this way. Meaning, if I could move cards this way, I could move this over to here and bring it down to get the lightning bonus. But since I can't do that, I could maybe bring the bonuses that way for next turn. Most of my green symbols are not available yet until I upgrade other cards. So I have to try and plan accordingly. I'm going to lose this card to this side. So if I wanted to try and get the little bubbly symbols together, I would have to move that over here. But I think I'm willing to let that one slide. And I'm going to bring a couple cards this way. Try and get that lightning bonus next turn. So this comes over here. And this comes over here. Maybe I'm regretting my choices. I can't get three symbols that line up. I'm close. So this guy flips and comes over here. Now I can move cards this way. Not sure how much I need to move cards this way, but I will bring this card down. And what? I want to try and set up another play. Hey, Dr. Sign. Um, uh, okay. So, yeah, this one, I don't care if that goes away. I might just push this one up. That actually does get me 3 water. So each succulent requires a set of 3 identical resources, and they're gathered in the same fertilized zone. If the cost is met, then you may grow it. So I managed to get 3 water, so I can flip this one. But I also got 3 lightning. Lightning, lightning, lightning. So I can flip this one. So I'm going to do that first. Swap the 2 edge plants and place one in the top row and one in the bottom row. Well, that's why we did that first. So this comes over here. And then I still have the water one. Oh, one comes down. Actually, I'll put this at the top and I'll put this one at the bottom. Then I have the 3 water, which flips this one. It says, swap 2 plants in the same row, exchanging exact positions. So I can swap 2 plants. What would be helpful? Swap 2 plants in the same row. I'm not sure what's actually helpful. I will swap this one and this one. Great. That was everything. So we go over here. He flips. Now I have to move cards that way. Doo-doo-doo. So the bubbly mountain, I have one over here, one over here, one over here. So they're not even close. The cubes, I have one over here, one over here, one here. I definitely want to move this down. I don't know how to get the other leaf. Oh, okay, the leaf is over here. So maybe I don't do down. Maybe I will bring this up. And then I can shift this down here and be prepared for next turn to move that down once. Now he flies. I got no succulents this time. I'm preparing for next time. So now I can move this way. I could move this to the edge like this. And then I could bring this down. That's my 2 moves. So now I have 3 leaves. This flips over. I get the sunlight in the jar. And it says swap 2 plants in different rows, exchanging their exact same position. What is helpful? I need this I need this box, but the problem is so maybe I swap these two. No. I want to swap this and this. I could get the leaves. The leaves. Yeah. I'll swap these two. He flips, he goes. So now I can move things this way. I got cube, cube, cube moving this way. So I can move this over to here. Hey, it's like by design. And then I can move this one up. So now I can grow succulents. Hey, I got cube, cube, cube. And I got the cube over here. Let's go. Shift one plant to a different column on the same side of the critter. Shift one plant to a different column on the same side of the critter and place it in the top row. Shift one plant. So what would be helpful to shift? And I don't know if I can shift in any direction that I want or if I have to follow the same direction of the critter. Doesn't say. I'm going to say I can shift it either way. Um, I want to bubble. Bubble's way over there. That's not great. I want to shift this one over here. Oops, that stays. And I want to move it up. All right. So that is that. This shifts over. He flips. I move things this way. Can't get the leaves. Can't get the bubbles. This symbol. We only got one of that symbol. Jeepers. Where are they? Oh, here. Leaf. Yeah, I need these to come over here. Yeah. I'm gonna push this over to here. And I will push this over to here. And then I can't do anything. So he's gonna flip and come here. I need this over this side. I can move things this way. So let's start getting this over here. This and this are my two moves. Still can't do anything. So then he flips. This comes over here. So now I can get them together. This goes up. This comes down. I got my leaves. Swap one edge plant with one non-edge plant. Okay. I mean, this is like almost great. That's one edge plant with one non-edge plant. I did not create another succulent, so I keep going. Sadly, it's no longer adjacent to the jar, but I can finish this. And where are my mountains at? Mountain. Let's do this. As my second action, I have 3 lined up. I can create this, which says shift one plant to a different column on the same side of the critter and place it in any row. I could shift and place it in any row. Well, I think I do need, no, I don't need that anymore. So I need this symbol, these 3 symbols together. So we'll push everything over. And I will put it in the middle row. Okay. That's the end of the game. I still have some jar movements to do. So bubble, bubble, bubble. Okay, I'm gonna first do the one movement down, which unlocks this. Ugh, I shouldn't do that. No, I'm not gonna do that one first. I'm gonna do this one first. It allows me to do 2 movements up and down, so I can move this down 1 and this up 1. So that gets me my green leaves, which flips this. It says swap 2 neighboring plants and place them in any rows. Can be same or different rows. So if I swap these 2, they can be placed in the top row. And then I have bubble, bubble, bubble for this bubble. Boom. And then I have swap 2 neighboring plants and place both in the middle row. It doesn't necessarily help me. I'll swap these 2 and place them in the middle row. I can move this up. I can move this up with this action. And I can move this up with this action. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I guess I probably should have used the snail. I learned a lot from my first play, so maybe that helped. Playing the first time. I did get a perfect score with the fly, so my next game would most definitely be with a more challenging animal. I don't know how it happened. I guess the cards just kind of fell into place. Sometimes I can be clever. So it's a lot of fun. It's definitely thinky. It's puzzly. If you like these kind of quick, little abstract games where you're moving cards to try and create patterns and get things fulfilled, because there's some turns you like, I didn't complete anything, but you're setting yourself up for the next future turn. So that's always really nice. Um, Lovely art, lovely little game. So if you're into the solo pocket games, this is definitely will be right up your alley. So check this out. Make sure to follow along for Glass Garden. This is my rule. My rules. I don't have the box cover. It's right here. Okay. So yeah, super cute. Bun shy. Always packing a punch with the little tiny games. Uh, Happy to stream it all for you and give it a whirl. So that was a lot of fun. Make sure to check us out. Check me and Michael out on YouTube at Board Gamer Steph, or you can join us on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph every Sunday and Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Central, where we stream 3 or more games every single stream. So follow along and join us. For those on Twitch, we'll be right back.